Hey everyone, and welcome to this special cast of the OlimoLeague Invitational number 9 Grand Finals. It's going to be a best of 7, and boy, do we have a stacked couple of players for you. In the top right corner, it's Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Rogue. And in the top left of Merry-Go-Round, from Alpha X, it's Classic. And you heard me right. That's Merry-Go-Round. This is the old maps edition of the OlimoLeague Invitational. Since this is a best of 7, we might very well get to see every single one of the maps in the pool. So I'll hold off on spoiling it unless somebody gets to match point. But yeah, suffice it to say, it's a collection of very old but very good maps. And as these two competitors, you know, we got to ask the question, how much have they practiced specifically for this tournament? You know, they both have heavy experience on maps like Merry-Go-Round, but it's kind of buried in the past. It's kind of been quite a while since we've had Merry-Go-Round in the pool. A lot of these maps are very unique from anything we currently have or have had for the last 5 or 6 seasons, or perhaps even longer. So, Rogue in Classic, dueling with their scouts. Gate next to Cyber on the low ground for the chin toss. Rogue, just with your normally timed second base. We'll see if he goes for a third. We'll see if he pulls off gas. Merry-Go-Round has a lot of space in the main. This is a big advantage to the Protoss. A lot of space in the natural, another big advantage to the Protoss, because it's going to make Zerg scouting difficult. This Overlord is going to have a harrowing journey indeed. If Rogue chooses to make a Stalker, something like that. And it's going to have its work cut out for it, even if Classic chooses not to go that route. So it's going to be a Twilight Council from Classic. Rogue sending out a Ling to help scout as well. Classic pulling his probe home. Surely going to be replaced with his first Adept once its friend pops out of the gateway. Rogue missing the Twilight Council on the first pass. So close, and yet so far. Classic is going for a Resonating Glaives play. Scouting so critical in this matchup. I'd say for the Zerg, scouting is more critical than in either ZVT or ZVZ. And it's pretty damn important in both of those matchups as well. Oh, the Overlord pulls back. Still no scout on the Twilight. All Rogue's seen is 2 gas. Now Rogue has taken a third at a pretty normal timing. He's throwing down safety spores because he has only seen 2 gas. That's it. That's all he knows. Sees the gateway, no scout on the Twilight. Still, and he's going to shift right. He knows there's a pylon back there. Sees the Twilight, sees the Chrono Boost, sees the lights blinking. That's going to narrow it down heavily. He's going to be looking for these gases. Rogue keeping his Lings out on the map as well. Stalker in the wall starts tagging the Overlord. The Lings are going to run up and help this Overlord out. He's looking for the Protoss army. He wants to know what the upgrade is. He sees the Robo. Knows there's going to be a Prism most likely. And sees the Adepts. He knows he's facing down a Gladept play. Let's see how our Zerg responds. Well, it's going to be a heck of a lot of Lings in the first wave. We've got our Roach Warren coming up very soon, but not here yet. These Lings want to buy time. They're going on the Classic side of the map. They see the Adepts shade out. They try to make a play against the weakened Stalker, but a probe is pulled to drop a gateway. And we should see these Lings leave very soon. They need to be at home in the defense. The initial shade goes out for Classic. We'll start fighting on the ramp, and it looks like the first engagement here is going to be a victory for Classic, but he will take heavy losses as these Adepts shift into the main mineral line. Recall on the remaining Adepts. Only 2 make it out alive. No drones lost for our red Zerg just yet. Rogue goes for a Ling counterattack. He's unsure of whether his opponent made a third, sends a Ling out. Okay, he's pretty confident. No expand to that location. Probably not going to move up this ramp. Sends a scouting Ling just to check. Observer is in a decent place to scout Zerg troop movements. Prism is finished. Prism speed as well as disruptors behind this. Rogue passing up the 6-minute mark, not taking a fourth, but this could be a reaction to the fact that he's not seen the Protoss take a third. He's got to be worried that Classic is going to commit a very heavy attack against him. Now, we do see Classic maneuvering to take a third base right now. Rogue is going to scout that attempt by Classic. Classic pulls the Prism back. Assumes a defensive position around his newly building third. Rogue swarming around the map, looking for Protoss units, trying to create a defense, but it's going to be a disruptor drop from Classic. Will soften up the Queens, but otherwise no damage incurred by the Zerg. Classic bringing up the Adepts behind his disruptor play. It's about to cause some mayhem. Transfuse will be used to try and recover some HP on the Queens. They're going to be instrumental in this defense from Rogue. Disruptor shots go out. 2 Ravagers will die in the first volley. Rogue pressing into Classic, but this could leave his natural relatively undefended. There's a lot of Lings to intercept, but there's actually more Adepts here than there are Zerglings, and they will make short work of the defenders. The Lings were just there to tie the Adepts down so the Roach Ravager could get in range, but they didn't respond fast enough. They were too far out trying to defend the third, and that means Classic is going to be able to overwhelm the defenders. 10 drones falling in the natural. The drones in the main were all saved, but Classic definitely making this attack worth it. Is going to kill off another Queen. 12, 13 drones dead. But is he going to be ready for Rogue's eventual counterattack? He's got to shift out of these Adepts. They're not going to trade great against the Roach Ravager. They can take out a Ravager here and there if they catch them out of position, or if they can get a shade off mid-engagement. But it's unclear if Classic is going to be able to rally a solid defense in time. He's going for another Prism. He's shifting back into Disruptor production, but he needs those Disruptors very soon. Rogue is on his front porch. A bunch of Ravagers being cut off for Rogue. It was... well, it's looking very close. Both players jockeying for position. Rogue pressing into a concave. Classic seems to have the upper hand in positioning as Shield Battery Overcharge wears on, but the Shield Battery finally taken out. Classic losing ground by the second. Another Ravager picked off by a Disruptor. Classic fighting valiantly, killing another couple Ravagers in their cocoons, but Rogue has reinforcements arriving just now. The sentries and a vulnerable squishy Stalker cut off from their meat shields. And now it's just going to be a handful of Adepts left in the corner. This third is going to fall. A fresh Warp-In is going to try and make a gamble for Classic, but at this point, it's just too much Zerg firepower. Classic is going to call GG. Rogue takes map number 1. King Sejong. A pretty unique map. We certainly haven't had anything like this for a long time. Destructible rocks. to open up fresh spaces or an alternative attack path to your opponent's natural. Enhanced maneuverability for weakened defense if you kill off those rocks. It's strange. It's a strange third location. You kind of can defend the front up here. This is actually where you want to fight. You don't want to be fighting back here as either the Protoss or the Zerg. I think the Protoss is going to have an easier time securing a fourth if we get to that point. But I think this is a Protoss favored map overall. We're going to be able to see Classic go into Stargate play very easily if he wants to. We could see Twilight. We could see something ground-based, but I don't feel like that's what any given Protoss would pick, let alone someone as good as Classic. Look at all these sick ledges. This is ripe for Void Ray play. This is ripe for Oracle play. And as you get into the later game, very easy for carriers to maneuver around and really threaten the Zerg. Very difficult for the Zerg to mount a game against late game air toss on King's Sejong Station. So, Rogue should be trying to win this in the mid game, should be trying to win this in the early game. I don't think we're going to see too much late game turtling. It's you take a fourth, it's risky on King Sejong. You take a fifth, it's really hard to hold. It's really, really, really hard to hold against your opponent. It's such an awkward small map, and it's so hard for the Zerg to get creep out on King Sejong that I think Classic is favored in map number 2. And look at that. We're going to see Classic drop Stargate number 1. Will there be a Stargate number 2? I think it's likely in the cards, but it's still too early to tell. Man, so like a Dragon Phoenix, right? Would it be just like a half as powerful dragon married with a half as powerful Phoenix? Or do you get like the full strength of both a dragon and a Phoenix? Because I feel like maybe the Dragon Phoenix isn't as good as the Alpha Dragon. I think it's an Alpha Dragon. Like, that's terrifying. That's nightmare fuel. I don't know. That feels like a Warhammer battle, right? Like, you got your Dragon Phoenix and it's trying to take down the Alpha Dragon. Like, Cathay versus... I guess the Elves would have the Dragon Phoenix, and then Cathay would have the Alpha Dragon, I would imagine. Okay, in comes Oracle, number 1. It's going to be followed up by a Void Ray from the Chin Toss. 4 drones, knockdown, which is really good, actually. You're usually expecting 3 drones from your first flyby from the Oracle. Now, Classic did have to sacrifice some health on the Oracle in order to get that 4th drone, but this Oracle still has utility. It's going to regen shields, unfortunately, under the vision of an Overlord. Classic! Whoa! You seeing what I'm seeing? Classic drops a 2nd Stargate. Did kill off the Scouting Overlord. This is going to supply block Rogue. And this is a hard supply block as well. There's no Overlords on the menu as the supply block happens. We're seeing some start up now. But we're going to see some larvae sitting on the ground for a bit. Wait, Fleet Beacon. Got a Stasis Ward coming up in the main. Unfortunately, in full vision of a Spore Crawler, so it is going to get picked off by the Queens. But, oh my god, it's a Tempest. Okay, well, Tempest has been in vogue lately. But I'm concerned, because there's a 2nd Stargate here. What? Oh my god, it's double Tempest. I didn't see this coming. I thought maybe Void Ray. This Void Ray is pretty good on King Sejong, but this is actually kind of brilliant, because the Zerg is gonna not have creep here, right? You can't get your queens to the far side of the cliff. You can just sit back here and shell the mineral line of the Zerg natural. And then there's another place you can go over here, and there's another place you can rotate to shell the main. You'd probably hit from here, right? You can build shield batteries to back this up. Oh my god, the more I'm thinking about this, this is brilliant from Classic. I love it. Void Ray Tempest. Killing off a queen very early on the fight. These queens are valuable more and more the longer they live. They're going to be generating energy, so losing a queen very early on, not great for Rogue. Oh, where's the transfuse on the Spore? Where is it? Rogue focusing on a Ling run by it, but it's move commanded into some Zealots. It's going to have to back out, and the Spore Crawler picked off by the Tempests. Several drones already falling. I mean, the Lings were able to kill off 2 probes, but this is really looking good for Classic, and he is backing this up with shield batteries. The probe hard at work. Another Spore Crawler dies. Where are the Queen transfuses? Oh my god. Rogue's gonna run out of Spore Crawlers. He only has 1 Spore left. He's going into Spire, but a lot of the Queen transfuse is gone. I feel like if you have more Spores to threaten these Tempests earlier on, if you use those transfuses earlier, it's gonna be better for you in the long run, but the Tempest now shelling the hatch proper. This is looking very good for Classic. Now, Corruptors are going to pop soon, but remember, there's a couple shield batteries as well as a cannon back here. They are able to shave a couple hit points off of these Tempests, but the Tempests are holding strong for the most part. Shield batteries finally out of energy. Is that a signal that Rogue's going to be able to break out soon? Well, with 8 more Corruptors, he's going to be able to break out one way or another. A 3rd Stargate finishing for Classic. He is literally tripling down. The Queen count is anemic for Rogue right now. Only 5. 5 Queens for injects and transfuses. And there's not a heck of a lot of injects going on right now. 4 Queens. The Corruptors taking big losses. 7 Corruptors lost so far to only 2 Tempests and 3 Void Rays. More shield batteries going down at the front. An additional cannon as well. A 4th Stargate on the way for Classic. Classic grabbing a 4th base as well. This is something we didn't touch on, but yeah, he's a 3-base Protoss. We saw that a little bit with the Ling run by, but it's now reached full maturity, fully saturated with lots of good probe robots. The Corruptors trying to keep the pressure on Classic, trying to keep that shield battery energy low, but they don't have transfuses of their own to support them. Three Void Rays at a time being produced. Only 1 Tempest left in the fight, but the Void Ray count is about to spin out of control. Classic moves away, at least temporarily, from the proxy. Rogue trying to take a 4th, a very, very late 4th at the 10-minute mark. It's gonna be canceled. Devastating blow to the Zerg. Infestation Pit. Finishing back in the main for Rogue. He's hit with a pretty major supply block. We'll finally clear that up. 8 roaches on the way. But those roaches are not going to... I don't think he's read the situation correctly. There is mass Void Ray. 5 Stargate Void Ray is soon to be clamoring onto the field. It looks like an acid spray play from Rogue. Classic waits for the Corruptors to begin their acid spray, forces the mass cancel. Twilight Council Forge in the main for Classic. And the proxy's been untouched. The shield batteries have regened all their energy. Some zealots morphing in here now. This is not looking good for Rogue. Rogue trying to establish his 4th base again. There's not much choice. You either expand here or on the far side of the debris outside your natural, and it's actually going to be canceled by... No, it's going to be killed by slow zealots. There's no saving this. You can't fight this with Corruptors. Wait, are the roaches going to be able to do it? Well, there's no air support. Classic just sent these in on their own, so the roaches are able to save the hatchery, but the hatchery knocked down to about half HP. It's going to be easy for the Air Force of Classic to knock it down whenever he wants. All the Ravagers die. The Corrosive Bile deftly dodged by Classic. Melted. The 4th base is melted by of Rogue. We got a ton of Lings coming in, but they're actually dying to the cannons in droves. The roaches start stutter stepping forward, will begin to make short work of the static defense, but shield batteries good units, making these last way longer than they should, and the Air Force is here to save the day. We'll actually be able to force Rogue away from the proxy. Rogue looked like he was going for another acid spray attack or maybe an entrapment of Classic, but unable to connect it at the same time his ground forces were hitting the shield batteries. A couple more zealots run in, trying to cancel this 4th base again. We'll get a couple units of health, but not going to be able to force the cancel. Oh no, the natural finally burned down by Classic at the 12.5-minute mark. If this 4th base falls, well, okay, if you kill this, which it's gonna die very shortly, that's a kill. Oh no, the Ravagers. We're gonna see Rogue tap out here any moment. I feel that's... This is intense. How many Void Rays is that? That's 26 Void Rays. There's 6 more Void Rays than there are Corruptors. There is a healthy amount of Queens. Parasitic Bomb connects with a lot of Voids, but that's another kill on another hatch. The 4th falls once again for Rogue, this time along with 16 drones, and that's just too much. Rogue is unable to recover. Classic evens the score 1-1. Classic and Rogue squaring off on opposite ends of Daybreak, which has been was initially released in 2011. Oh my god, that was a long time ago. 2011 to 2013 was its initial run. Daybreak with a, let's say, a difficult third. It's down a ramp. It's very far for the Zerg to creep. The other expansion also very awkward. You'll notice only 6 bases on each side of the map. Not the biggest map in this invitational map pool, for sure. Classic being annoying on the minerals. Rogue flying into the Protoss natural for a scout, which is where do you put your Overlord here, right? There's not really, I guess over here. Over here is probably the best place, like right up on this ledge. Yeah, this is not a prime position to put your Overlord. when going up against a Protoss. It's going to take him a while to get into the main and scout Classic's tech, which is actually going to be a robotics facility opening. I don't know where this is going. This is a massive area to wall off for Classic. Rogue is going to send out a couple of links, but this is just the normal amount of links you would make at the start of any ZVP, normally time third. And I'm very surprised Rogue didn't do some kind of pool first shenaniganery or aggressive ling play. I don't mean all in. I mean, like, you make one wave of lings and whatever they do, they do. Look how long Classic's wall has been open and how long Rogue has seen it. Rogue being a really nice guy right now. A Robo Bay down for Classic. Classic not being a nice guy at all. So this is going to be either Disruptor drop or Colossi drop. We'll have to wait and see. Rogue splitting off scouts every which way. Very, very good map presence from Rogue. Prism speed on the way, and it is going to be Disruptor drops from Classic. We did see these earlier in the series. They weren't terribly effective. They killed off a couple Ravagers. And Rogue has no scout. Rogue has no information whatsoever on what Classic's up to. This could indicate some kind of all-in play. I mean, it's a slightly on the earlier side Roach Warren. I don't think it's dramatic whatsoever. It's still within the range of normal times. You can get your Roach Warren. But Rogue is approaching the 43 drone mark. This is a point you can cut and kind of really launch an all-out attack on your opponent. Let's see what he's going to do. He's going into lair. No, I think he's just going to drone it. Nope. Oh, 20 lings on the way. Okay. We're not seeing any roaches, though. This might just be a committed attack against an assumed third from Classic. Might just be coming out to defend. Queen dies in the first drop. Not bad. Not bad at all. And this will stop. Seeing the two Disruptors out will stop any attempted attack from Rogue. And any pivot into roaches. Lair finishing for our blue Zerg player. Looks like another queen will die. Yeah, it can't escape. Oh! The Prism just abandons one of the Disruptors. I think that's a huge mistake. I think it still could have gotten out with plenty of time and just move a couple of feet southward. But Classic made his choices and is only going to have one Disruptor now. He's pivoting into Colossi. Extended Thermal Lance on the way. Rogue with a big Link Flood. Classic has not taken a third. Classic still dropping with his Prism. Did get another shot off on a Queen. Few roaches blown to smithereens. Classic trying to keep his opponent pinned down. Spire finishing up for Rogue. I would imagine it's just going to be a handful of Corruptors. Yeah, 8 Corruptors on the way, but does he have a big enough ground army to engage this? Let's see how the forces shape up. 25 Lings, 2 Roaches on the ground versus 2 Colossi, 3 Adepts, 6 Stalkers, 2 Disruptors, 4 Sentries, and 6 Zealots, plus whatever warping happens when he connects with Rogue's army. It's going to be another volley of Stalkers, and wave of stalkers, I should say. Oh, Rogue losing a bunch of lings early on in the fight. Classic's looking really good here. He has enough stalkers that he can keep the corruptors off of these colossi. Some hallucinated colossi joining the fight as well. Unfortunately, spore crawlers are here, so there is detection. Disruptor shots are fired. They get light connections with the Zerg army. Really decent force fields here from Classic. Rogue backed into a corner, fighting for his life. This is a giant play from Classic. Oh my god, Rogue lost the third. This is disaster. He's pulling the drones into battle. Oh no, Rogue is just folding so quickly. There's no recovering from this. Rogue's gonna rally a defense at the natural, but just what do you do? The Corruptors try to make an acid spray attack against the main of Classic. Only 3 of them make it through. 1 Stalker warped in and will actually be able to kill 2 of these off before the Nexus falls, if Rogue tries to go for the spray. But yeah, no, Rogue is... Oh no, Rogue's trying to chase the Protoss back? This is not the way, my friend. Classic with a very well-timed play. A very nice attack. Just able to keep the Zerg pinned back long enough and afraid enough of attacking with roaches with his initial disruptors that this play was able to be kept in the dark, was able to build up enough to launch the assault and do so successfully. I'd be very surprised if Rogue can turn this around. Bile did connect with the Stalkers, but this is, at this point, an A move and win army. The drones pulled in against the Stalkers. They're going to be slaughtered. GG. Classic goes up 2-1 against Rogue. Classic with a couple of really cool and innovative wins in the last couple maps, but Golden Wall, a much more recent map. And I'm sure their experience and their builds on this map are going to really show. I think Rogue is going to have a much easier time. I think both of the previous maps, Daybreak and King Sejong, were really, really, really good for Protoss, and Rogue just, he was not favored. Golden Wall is even. I think Golden Wall is very, very, very even. It's such a unique map, so Golden Wall has these minerals in the back of your base you can mine. You can take a natural or a third here. We've got bases in the middle of the back wall as well, or you can expand up to the north. Several expansions here as well. And where this map gets its name is the titular Golden Wall, which can be mined from either side. 1 gas on the north side, none on the south, but you can mine the minerals efficiently either way. This is a full gold base, so a lot of interesting tactical decisions to be made here by both our Zerg and the Protoss. Please, God, don't let them cheese. Please, please, don't. No, don't do it to me. I'm joking, of course. I don't want my good, well-thought-out map explanation to go to waste, you know? That's all we hope for here. But the Stargate, halfway done. Classic. Could open Oracle. That would be very strong on this map. You can go Oracle, you can go Phoenix, you can go Void Ray. Stargate play very, very strong on Golden Wall. It's going to be a Void Ray opener from Classic. Classic wants to take the back third. Starts mining out the mineral wall. Rogue, I think, has his eyes set on the north half of the Golden Wall. Rogue sending a bunch of lings out, but I don't think he expects to deal any serious damage. I think he's just looking to see if his opponent's expanded to the north, and he can reasonably assume that his opponent's expanded to the south if he doesn't see anything. But he's got to make sure, because he doesn't know if this is a 2-base play or if he's going to be facing a macro opponent right now. The first Void Ray arrives. It's going to fight along with the initial Oracle, and one queen will be killed off. It's going to lower the queen count to 4 for Rogue. Roach Warren down for Zerg, and Classic is not messing around. He's going straight into Fleet Beacon, +1 weapons, +1 air weapons, I should say, on the way for Classic. Rogue starts attacking into the wall. Carrier play from Classic, which we actually haven't seen so far. We've seen Tempest, we've seen Voids, we've seen Oracles, all in our Protoss's playbook. But yeah, the Carriers coming as actually a refresher. Normally you'd be like, Carriers, this is very standard. But from the previous build, Classics has given us so far. Rogue could be surprised by these. Forge down for a Protoss as well. It's hard to tell what our Zerg's thinking right now. We're seeing Overlord speed. We're seeing +1, but the scouting is lacking. The scouting is really lacking for Rogue. We have about 10 seconds for him to take a 4th. He's very oversaturated on the 3rd, which should mean he's going to take a 4th base, right? Okay, he does. He takes a 4th base in the top right corner. Classic on the move with his first 2 carriers. Carriers 3 and 4 about halfway done, but yeah, he wants to get aggressive with these initial 2. The queens are ready to meet them, and 4 queens with energy can put up a very decent fight against the carriers, especially with several more on the low ground to reinforce. They do get aggroed to the low ground by the Oracle. Rogue is just going to see the carriers now. He needs to react, needs to pull the queens to the main. There's nothing here to detect the creep for Classic, so Rogue is going to be able to deflect this first attack. There's no reason for Classic to waste precious minerals trading out against Queen energy with interceptors. But yeah, no, this actually turns into a big question mark because he kind of revealed his carrier play for no advantage. He just showed it. But, like, he's actually committing to carriers, right? Well, we're not seeing carriers 5 and 6 enter production. We're actually seeing +1 ground weapons. We're seeing Blink. He did let +1 air weapons finish. Rogue taking a 5th at the top of Golden Wall. Classic sitting on 4 Nexus. Hive Tech coming out from Zerg. Ah, man, this really weirds me out from Classic. Why show the carriers, do nothing with them, and then just leave? And still, like, if he was transitioning fully into ground, oh my god, Rogue finally gets a scout. It took long enough. But yeah, if you're transitioning into ground, this makes a lot of sense, right? Like, you show 2 carriers, and then everything you make from that point onward is gateway and robo units. But that's not what we saw. That's not what we saw from Classic. It's this combined arms hybrid. He did make a bunch of gateways, but he's still pumping out carriers 2 at a time. +2 air weapons on the way. +2 ground weapons on the way. For a Protoss or Zerg, just getting out +1 melee, as well as Carapace. We're seeing Neural Parasite as well. Rogue, despite having a bunch of Corruptors, not going for the Viper play. Instead, going for Neural Parasite. It's an interesting decision. I don't know how it's going to pan out. Ultra Den on the way for Rogue as well. It's come pretty in vogue for late game ZVP for you to make a couple Ultras, place them under your Corruptors and or Broodlords, just to chew through any of the Protosses, mass high temps, etc. But this mass Stalker style, I'm not sure how well that's going to go for Rogue. One carrier dead. A great start to the site for Rogue. A carrier dies for Queen energy. The Void Ray's down. Rogue's holding strong. Banelings come up from the front while Ling Ravager wraps around from the back. Some Banelings reach the back of the line too. Heavy damage to the Stalkers. Not a lot of them dying, but their shields are pretty much gone. It's like they got EMP'd. Corruptors pushing through on the sky, and this is a brilliant engagement from Rogue. Oh my god, this was a quiet game, but all of a sudden it's looking like it's going to turn up. Zerg, more Banelings connect. Rogue's got a heavy Queen army, and Classic is cleaned up. 83 army supply to Rogue to the 40 of Classic. Classic trying to take a 5th, but Creep is very close by. Rogue would have to mine through the minerals to get back here effectively, but yeah, a great engagement from Rogue. I have a feeling he's going to be besieging Classic's natural very soon. We're seeing the first Ultras pop for our Zerg. A couple Stargates. Bolstering the production of Classic. But like, oh man, it's gonna be 4 Stargate carrier against Queen, Ling, Bane, Ultra Nidus. And I think I know where the Nidus is gonna pop. Look at this juicy Overlord. Look at it. It swings left, this space is under threat. It swings right, this space is under threat. Rogue's like, you know what? I'm gonna cast her Cursey Renegade. I don't have to mine out those minerals at all. I'm just gonna make a Nidus on the south side of the Golden Wall. And Rogue has already damaged Classic to a point where Classic can't cover all the territory he needs to defend. He's going to take the gold base to the north side, but he will be losing this 5th. It's gone. There's no saving this unless Rogue doesn't actually pop units out. Only 2 queens to start with. Rogue's gonna attack in the front. Interesting decision. Really interesting decision. He's apparently the Nidus was a bluff all along. I didn't think that was gonna be the case at all. And that's the natural gone for Classic. This is okay. Okay, there's the queens. There's the queens popping out for Rogue. These queens are going to take a while to chew through the buildings. They will be able to make short work of the probes, but yeah, that's going to be GG. Classic doesn't have an army to respond to either of these attacks. Classic and Rogue getting spawned on the same side of the map. We're on Whirlwind. This entered competitive play for the first time in May of 2012. It feels so long ago, and yet such a short time ago. Oh no. I'm meeting my own existential crises. It's kind of cool casting this because, like, I haven't seen some of these maps since I was playing on a laptop. And it's like seeing remastered StarCraft. Like, this map did not look this good when I played on it. Let me tell you. 720p, low settings, 30 FPS. Sometimes I get nostalgic for that. It's like Chad Renegade, right? Getting to Diamond on a trackpad, 20 FPS. Every third game disconnected because I was on Wi-Fi versus like 2022 Renegade, which is like, no, I'm getting less than 144 FPS. Lost Masters stuck in Diamond. Aye. Imagine getting to Diamond on a trackpad versus dropping to Diamond on a G502 mouse. That feels so bad. Anyway, Classic going into Stargate again, but he's shown us that he has many Stargate builds up his sleeve. I wouldn't be surprised to see another entirely new play here on Whirlwind. It's even scores. No one's on match point yet. Nice pick off from Rogue. Beautiful surround. Excellent micro. Did lose one drone, but definitely worth it in order to cap the Adept. And while Classic does have a scout on all three bases, he's going to want to get map presence once again. And it's going to be an Oracle that he uses in an attempt to get a scout on Rogue. Here it goes. Yeah, Moza, I know. We got an Oracle attack on Rogue. I love my cat. Okay. Oracle is going to be met with a Spore Crawler. Should only be able to pick off 2 to 3 drones. It's going to run away after 2. The Queen was very quick to intercept. Statue that's so beautiful. I don't think I've seen this doodad in any other maps. I gotta really think. No, I can't say that I have. I love that statue doodad. And like the torch doodad. Oh my god, that's so cool. Classic has moved into, well, I can't say has moved into Void Ray production. He's made a Void Ray. He's made an Void Ray. Sends it into the main. Decent damage on the forward Queen. Back off, regen the shields. Oracle tried to attack the space. Didn't get anything done. But yeah, Classic producing 1 Void Ray. Taking a 3rd. And moving into a 2nd Stargate Forge finishing as well. Void Ray number 2 finally popping. Void Rays number 3 and 4 put on the production tab. Rogue. Has his Roach worn up. Will have a lair soon. And has a menu of responses that he can utilize to make plays against Classic. Does he want to go for a Roach all-in? Does he want to take a 4th? Does he want to take an early 4th? Which is what we're going to see, a 5-minute, 40-second 4th base. A lot of hubris from Rogue here. Is he going to be able to defend that far out? The creep spread is not the greatest. It's kind of up here on a weird perch. It's going to take a while to get creep spread over here. The Queens are going to have a rough time responding if Classic makes a Void Ray play, But Classic's making a Void Ray play for the main again, rather than trying to go against the 4th. There are 3 queens in the Spore to defend. That is pretty adequate. Now, they might be able to pick off this Void Ray on the right. Oracle's trying to distract, draw as many queens away from the main as it can. And it will, for a split second, pull these away from their posts, but they only moved a few feet away from the area they were required by law to guard. Bunch of Lings die. Rogue trying to figure out what angle he wants to attack into Classic from. Double cannons popping up for Classic. Disruptor about to finish. Charge about to finish. +1 about to finish. Extended Thermal Lance just starting. Hydra upgrades and +1 for the Zerg. We're seconds away. Colossi from Classic. Again, our blue toss keeping the combined arms approach we've seen earlier in the series. Rogue advances very quickly. Stasis Ward on the high ground for Classic. The Oracle killed off. No more revelations for Classic. Classic able to catch 3 roaches with the first Disruption Nova. Zealots charge into battle. Force the Hydra down to the low ground. Classic's got to be super careful about how he engages roaches, shielding the squishy Hydra from the deadly laser beams of the Colossus. Disruptor is off cooldown. We'll be able to catch another 3 roaches. Decent trades. Protoss is holding for now. Another Colossus is about to pop, and with the roach count being pretty diminished, it was looking really good for Classic for a second, but reinforcements are going to move forward to shield for the Hydra once again. The Hydra finally cut down, and that means the Void Rays have a lot more maneuverability to take out these roaches. Another Disruptor shot coming in for Hydra taken down, and that's going to force a retreat from Rogue. His tail between his legs. He has to run home. A great defense from Classic, but remember, Rogue did get up in early 4th, is going to be able to drone it heavily if he wants to. He's been very conservative with sending drones over here thus far, but that could change at any minute. Rogue attacking in multiple locations. Classic is going to respond heavily to the northern attack, which he's going to squash these roaches like bugs, but loses the 3 o'clock Nexus to the bigger part of Rogue's army, which is kind of unfortunate because Rogue's army right now cannot stand up in a fight against Classic. There's not enough Hydra to defend against Classic's Air Force, even though it's pretty tiny, and that on its own will win the battle in favor of Classic. So more Hydra coming out for Rogue. Classic going into Prism. More high temps. More Archons. For a blue Protoss. Classic sending most of his forces to fight up north will keep the high temps huddled in with his Colossi, is able to storm down the secondary army of Rogue, and it looks like the Roach Hydra is going to get carved to pieces. Mostly roaches dying right now. But now the Hydra are opened up for assault from the Zealots, and they're going to begin to fall as well. Rogue trying to make something happen, always splitting his army into multiple groups, always trying to hit Classic from multiple directions. Classic so often just making these hard decisions and committing the full might of his army to one place or another. But these Zealots have done a surprising amount of work. I didn't think they were going to be able to push Rogue back this far. But Rogue will have reinforcements popping at this base soon, should be able to hold the hatch proper. Oh no, the roaches are running out onto the map. Okay, he will be able to hold the hatch proper. But the main Protoss Death Ball is advancing very quickly against Rogue. Ravager taken down. Storms every which way, only connecting with small clumps of units, but the damage is adding up, and there's just so many storms. There's still another storm, and another one. GG is called as Archon's morph in the face of Rogue. Classic has taken Rogue to match point. Let's see where this goes. Classic is going to start this one off with a proxy gateway and a proxy forge. Oh my god, welcome to Habitation Station. This map started in competitive play in November of 2013. That was over 8 years ago. Oh my, it wasn't over 8 years ago. It was under 8 years ago. Don't do math on, well, I guess this would be YouTube recording, but still same principle. Don't do math on stream. This is a weird cannon rush. This is a strange cannon. Why proxy forge, man? This is some cheekiness from Classic, to be sure. Oh man, spine down in the main for Rogue. This is so strange. I've never seen this before. I've casted many it's a proxy robo. Okay, this is making a lot more sense. Alright. It's just a very, very aggressively placed proxy robo. Oh my god, the Cyber Core's out here? What you doing, Cyber Core? I'm almost speechless. This is quite the attack coming out from Classic. See, usually you start off with like an aggro cannon rush against your opponent's nat, but it's not what's happening here. Queens are within shooting distance of the forge. I think Classic might have just been like, yeah, no, I haven't played on Habitation Station in like a very long time, and I'm gonna just throw my buildings out here. It's time to cast the die. Rogue's causing a lot of damage. Now remember, the shields being gone aren't necessarily the end of the world. You can still click the shield battery, right click the building, and end up okay for a time at least. It's Prism first from Classic. Okay, apparently he's not worried about making cannons anymore. Nothing at home. Blank base for the Alpha X player. Immortal about to pop for Classic, and he's going to see what he can do to turn this around. He's lost the gateway. He's lost the forge. There's a wall of spines on the high ground, but he can go around. He can go around the spines. Nope, he's going to fight the spines. He is absolutely 100% dedicated to fighting the spines. Now, the first one falls without transfuse. Rogue's going to pull the spines back. We'll take a couple shots to the queens. This thing is not going to see the light of day. Classic is about to finish his second immortal. Zergling production for Rogue. Rogue still sitting on 1 gas. I think that might be a critical mistake. I don't know. This is game 6 in a very long series of StarCraft. Like, there's so much on the line for Rogue, and that's his play. He's going for the run-by. He notices the relative lack of cannons, and he is going straight for Classic's mineral line. Classic has broken through to the natural. Let's take a look what defenses he has back home. Well, the answer is 1 shield battery, a gateway that's not even halfway done, and a couple pylons. It's looking grim for the probe line of Classic. Classic needs to play very aggressively right now. He's pulling the prism home so he can warp in defenders, I guess. I don't know. He doesn't actually have any gateways out on the field. So why is the... Okay, he's got an immortal on the prism. That would be the Occam's razor explanation. Nope, he changes his mind. He's going to bring the immortal back to the front. I feel like if he was going to defend the front, the immortal probably better served helping to DPS down the Zerg. But it spends a gratuitous amount of time in the prism not shooting things. Classic is now on a 0 probe count. He's got 88 minerals in the bank, but just lost his Nexus back home. The pylons are going to fall as well. The natural still alive for Rogue, and Rogue has played this out masterfully. I can't believe the Zlings got the run by. I can't believe we didn't see a recall from Classic, although I don't know that an Immortal would have been able to survive against all those Zerglings either. There wasn't a shield battery there, which makes me think it would have, with the fighting support of the probes, but yeah. This is looking very grim for Classic. As long as Rogue holds on and is able to build up critical mass of forces, should be able to win this. Shield batteries are being taxed heavily in the energy department. Rogue running out of transfuses, though. This is the moment for Classic. Can he break through the queens and win the series? Kills off the natural. The Immortals make their play. It's very dangerous. They are very far away from their supporting shield batteries. A couple of queens fall on the high grounds. These Immortals are very orange. They top off at the shield batteries. They can only do that about one more time. They have to play aggressive against Rogue. They have to go up the ramp, and they have to go now. 8 more lings on the way for Rogue. Rogue is mining. Classic is not. Every tick of HP that disappears from these Immortals is permanent damage to the Protoss. The main hatch heavily damaged for Rogue. He does not have enough money to make another one if it falls. The Prism goes down with an Immortal inside. GG. Rogue pulls off a brutal defense and takes us to the final map. Entombed Valley, another oddball one. You have a cutoff third that you can break down some destructible rocks to get to and shorten the defense distance between your nat and your third. But otherwise, you gotta go around this very awkward corner to get there. Fourth bases, again, very awkward. You have this forward-facing fourth, and you have this fourth that's closed in by destructible rocks, or you can expand to the other spawn location, which I think this fourth is probably the safest, to be honest. I would skip over this one even, but it's hard. It's a hard call to make, like, if you're a Zerg, because you're not going to have creeps right over there. So, very curious about what our combatants are going to do on Entombed Valley, especially given that this is the last map of the tournament. Rogue with a quick third takes his third location first, takes the Nat. Classic is going to scout this. This seems very exploitable by Adepts. Oh my god, this is so cut off from your natural. I would be shocked if we didn't see Adepts from Classic. This is a bold play from Rogue. But we did see a bold play from Classic in the last map. That was quite the proxy. Stargate down at the wall for Classic. We are seeing Adepts. First one, about to connect with Rogue. Canceled Shade into the main, and it is going to rotate to Rogue's third location. Oh, let's see Active Tumor go up. Okay, taking a lot of damage from the Lings. One drone picked off, and it lives. It's looking like a desperate situation for our Adept friend of Classic, but the Adept was able to turn things around. Void Ray pops for Classic. It's going to be an Oracle follow-up. Link speed done for Rogue. And he is going to commit 12 more Zerglings. He's sitting on a pretty low drone count, only 28 before he makes those dozen Zerglings. This is pretty all in from Rogue, to be honest. Okay, he's going to try to drone behind this, but he is required to get damage done. He has to cancel the third. Shoots up to 36 drones, but like at a delayed timing. He's getting defensive spores back home. He lost 2 drones to the Oracle. Here we go. This is a decisive Ling play. You'd think 2 Lings could attack the Adept from the position it was sitting in. I wonder if it was just Miss Micro on Rogue's part. Oh man, Classic defends the third. A big blow to Rogue. Classic can counterattack. He's probably going to wait for this next Void Ray. He sends in 2 Adepts. There's nothing to defend this base. He has to run the drones. 2 of them falling already. The Adepts shade into the main. Third drone falls. Unfortunate move command on 1 Adept. But 4 drones for 2 Adepts, weakening Rogue's economy even further. Now, he's on an okay drone count at the moment, but like, relative to how early he took his third base, it shouldn't have taken this long. I don't know what our Zerg does from here. Okay, he's going to go into Hydro Den. I think that's a necessary move. He's going to take an early 4th. Oh boy, it's another 540 hatch timing. The Void Ray Force continues to grow. +1 air weapons about to finish. Twilight Council dropped by Classic. Several queens burned down. The Spore under threat. This is... Oh, no, Rogue. Not like this. No, the third going down will be so bad. Rogue's got a Ling run by into the vein of Classic, but this is not enough. 6 probes die, and usually that would be really good, but the Hydra are getting picked off one by one. The Overlords under threat. More Hydra going down. They can't group up. They're too split. They can't fight the Voids. Oh no, the Hydra down itself is going to die before range finishes. Is Rogue gonna lose the series like this? Oh no. Alpha X's Classic has checkmated Rogue. GG. Classic is the champion of the OlimoLeague Invitational number 9. Old Maps Edition.